Hello, everyone. RBG King here, back with some more Paranormasight, the 7 Mysteries of Honjo. In the previous video, we went through Tetsuo's line here for a little bit. Now I think we're gonna go to someone else. We're either gonna go to Yako or Haraway. I think we're gonna do Haraway's. We're gonna start with Haraway's first, because hers is also very interesting, especially since she's tied to the detective Richter here. So let's get into it. Not dreams. When the son of Haraway Shigima was kidnapped, a botched investigation by the police resulted in the child's murder. 1 year later, Haraway has hired a private investigator to help resolve the unsolved case. Late at night, while speaking to the detective at her home, something strange suddenly appears. May those who mock fire's flames perish in flames. Kill them. Kill them. The flame bearers. Kill them all. Straight up just getting it. Alrighty. You now have acquired the power of the Curse Stone, the Haunting Clappers. You can use it to kill those with fire or a fire-starting device on their person. Oh, there we go. Press the use curse button to set your target alight. So there you go. We know that's why it's there. Kills by burning one who is in possession of fire or a fire-starting device. Red, red, red. Everything is dyed crimson. My home is burned to the ground. It's hot, so hot. I must call for help, but I cannot speak. My throat must be burned up from the smoke. No, I think I'm already on fire. That's right, I'll just use the clappers. Clank, clank. Is anybody there? Clank, clank. Why is no one coming? I'm going to burn to death. Oh, how did it come to this? Alright, her. It must be the work of that vixen who appeared suddenly and enchanted my lord. That witch, those hauntingly cold eyes had my lord dancing in the palm of her hand. Perhaps I was also taken in by her. How many innocent people did I lord in under orders? This must be karma. The sound of a heavy bell. It feels like May. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be my head. I think that's our first typo there. Feels like my head will split open. Alright, the evening bell. That must be why no one can hear the sound of my clappers. Got to do it louder. Clack, clack. A murderous impulse seeps into my soul like thick black tar. Can you hear it, curse bearer? You who has so strongly desires the right. Kill them. "12 a.m. Haraway Shigima. Shigima Mansion reception room. Back with me, ma'am. Can't say I understand what just happened, but it certainly seems to have put you in a good mood. This might be the first time I've ever seen you really smile. Ugh. Sweet dreams. Housewife, Haraway Shigima. Haraway is a housewife who resides in the manor near Sumoko Bridge. Her 11-year-old son, Suichi, was kidnapped and murdered about a year ago. The death was the result of a mistake on the part of the detectives assigned to the case. A mistake which enraged the kidnapper and had him cut off all contact with the police, leaving no room for negotiation. The incident was covered up and Suichi's killer remains at large, leading the aggravated Haraway to call on the services of private investigator Richard Kai to uncover the truth. The Shigima family came from a line of samurai who built their residence in Honjo during the Edo period. They assumed important positions in the police force following the Meiji Revolution, thereby protecting their family's elevated status. Even today, many in the Shigima line work as police bureaucrats and senior police officers. Haraway's father sits on the upper echelons of the National Police Academy, and her husband, adopted into the Shigima clan through an arranged marriage, is also a highly respected agency official. However, as her family prioritized work above all else, it wasn't long before Harway's marriage grew cold. Though she wants for nothing, she is isolated from her neighbors and withdrawn from society. Seeing her son grow into a young man gave Harway a purpose in life, but was cut short by the kidnapping incident. Following the incident, Harway spent many days in a deep depression, breaking into sudden fits of shouting and wandering around in the middle of the night. Her cheerful, loving disposition faded away, and she took to making snide remarks at her husband, which only further soured their relationship. A few months ago, Harway's husband was transferred to another area for work and now rarely returns home. With Harway left to live in the large, empty mansion alone, as a housekeeper who has been with the family for a long time comes in to take care of all the housework, Harway has nothing but time on her hands. The young man he didn't hide the fact that he was a curse bearer. His curse stone was later recovered by Tetsuo Tetsumi. Yutaro is an elite student at a prestigious university. He lives off the generous allowance he receives from his parents, who are both prominent local figures. Although Yaruto has lived a charmed material life, emotional negligence at home has caused him to develop a spoiled, egotistical streak. The only kindness he knew growing up was from his family's maid, and he still fondly thinks of the plain rice with butter they used to eat and enjoy together. No. Just want to make sure if there's anything else. I don't think so. Okay, just want to make sure. Not dreams. Sounds like something I might want to hear about. Just so slightly, I suppose. Very quiet. There's like nothing going on in here. Well, I'll be damned. Is that what I think it is? Goodness, he made me jump. It's just a silly little sticker my son got from somewhere or some other. He put it up just before. Well, you know what happened. I still can't bring myself to take it down. Let me take a closer look. I knew it. It's Honjo from way back in set number 1. This is a real collector's item. Excuse me? Don't tell me you've never heard of the mockingbirds. The what? They're the hottest new craze. Cute little birds dressed up like rough and tumble delinquents. I've never heard of them, but this certainly seems to matter to you. The best part is nobody knows who made them. They just started showing up around town, and soon enough they've won everybody's hearts. The story goes that they're made by some anonymous artist who covertly leaves them behind in specific locations. No one knows when or where they'll show up next. They're basically an urban legend of sorts. To think one would turn up here of all places. It's a good sign, I'm sure of it. Oh, well, that's nice. Mockingbirds. Those popular bird mascot stickers seem to pop up everywhere. Nobody knows who the legendary artist is behind these quirky birds, but they quickly became popular for their surreal yet oddly cute designs. Excuse me. But in the first place, be in the right place at the right time in Honjo, and you might just be able to find all 20 of them scattered around. Legend has that collecting them will bring about good luck. Approach the net, a bottom shelf surrounded, jackpot by darkness. Late at night on the way home, look up at the first house. Among the morning green, before hearing the history. In the bright garden, if you won the lottery. Wait until you feel like yourself again. Detectives in private eyes. A ringing telephone booth. The excited detective. Waiting at the entrance, in a park where sparrows sing. Waiting at the intersection, on a bridge pillar at night. A unique-looking playground, revisiting the park at night. Does that mean I missed one then? Could I have possibly missed one? When I was playing as, what's his name? Tetsuo. Stereo unit with separate speakers designed for house use. My husband insists on buying one, even though he isn't one to listen to music often. color television. Father brought one as soon as it hit the market. He likes to have the latest gadgets. Unlike the latest models, there's no remote control we've had for a long time. Back when it was new, we all gathered around it and marveled at it as a family. But with Father and my husband being away so often, it's quite quietly fell into this darkness or distance or whatever it said. The swinging of the pendulum echoes throughout the room. Feels livelier than usual with Richter here. Usually it's just me. A fax machine. You can send images to other places along the telephone network. Don't really know how it works. Most houses don't have one. I rarely find a use for it. The telephone. This mansion has a private line. Ring, 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 ring. Banana phone. The guest table. Don't know where Father got this old thing from, but I've never liked it. Yeah, it looks like a nice table. I'm not going to complain too much about it. An old hanging scroll. I don't know who painted it. It's been hanging here since before I was born. An arrangement of flowers. We bring in someone to do it. Don't even know what the flowers are called. The lights. The chandelier is the only thing in here that's my choice. It's my favorite part of the room. A private investigator I hired. A friend told me about him. They say he's not very well known, but he's good at what he does. When I first visited his office in Ota City and saw how he dressed, I could hardly believe he was a detective. But after talking to him for a while, I changed my mind. He says strange things at times, but he seems like the reliable sort. Richter's actually a private investigator with an office in Ota City, Tokyo. After taking on a request from Haruhi Shigima to investigate the unsolved kidnapping and murder of her son, he gets caught up in the events surrounding the Rite of Resurrection. Once a police officer, Richter was racked with guilt over the police's inability to help all those in need and quit the force to start his own private investigation firm. However, his soft-hearted nature leads him to take on too many cases and has put his office in dire financial strains. How he is still in business is a mystery, with some whispering that a wealthy patron is keeping him afloat. Richter studied alongside Detective Jun Arroway at the police academy. Somewhat surprisingly, given his outlandish clothing and mannerisms, Richter excels at covert investigations and tailing his targets. He proudly refers to himself as an investigator extraordinaire, though that only ever succeeded at impressing himself. Richter's biggest source of happiness is nuzzling his pet female albino parakeet, Ernestine, which he keeps in his office. He also enjoys collecting mockingbird stickers, a popular line of merchandise featuring birds and unexpectedly dressed like delinquents, and can be frequently sighted researching around the town for them. While out and about, Richter typically leaves the office, and, more importantly, Ernestine, in the care of Amamori, a junior high schooler who volunteered to assist Richter after being involved in a previous case. Oh, that's interesting. Azure Heron Agency. Ah, that's Richter's agency. Okay. Alright, let's think for a little bit. My heart's still racing. This is it. My chance. At long last. Let me bring you up to speed. We were in the middle of a chat when you suddenly started spacing out. Oh my god. That was weird. And the whole time you were grinning to yourself like you just won the lottery. Care to tell me what that was all about? Well, where to start? Blah 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 blah. Interesting. Very interesting. So the haunting clapper's curse echo appeared out of nowhere, told you how to perform the Rite of Resurrection, and gave you the curse you'll need to do it. Have I got that right? That's right. So it's all real. Honestly, I still find it hard to believe. But I guess I have to now. I saw that curse stone appear in your hand myself. It looked like it popped clean out of thin air. With evidence that clear, there's no denying that there's some supernatural force at work. Excuse me. Don't think you quite understand. Oh? This isn't about evidence, and it isn't about belief. It's more than that. I know it's real. The moment the curse appeared, I knew everything before it even said a word. It was already there in my head, as clear as day. You just knew, huh? It was etched into my soul, along with the curse echoes resentful memories. So I can feel it, what it was like. Dying like they did, haunted of years ago. Wait, did they say haunted or hundreds? Hundreds, okay. Wrath, wraith in flames, writhing in pain as my flesh blackens and my blood boils. I can feel it. All the agony, all the rage. It fills me with bloodlust. I think I need to kill someone. Anyone will do. Just as long as they're carrying fire. I see. That could be a problem. You think so? From what I know of you, I was sure you'd see it as an opportunity. The stronger the desire to resurrect someone, the stronger the urge to kill. That's how it seems to me, anyway. Good grief, yada yada does say. Talk about a spanner in the works. I say we take stock for a moment. Remind ourselves where we've come from and where we're going. That might be a good idea. Boom, 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 boom. No, you still say the same thing. A whole lot of it will change. Alrighty. About the investigation. That's what you hired me for, ma'am. To look into your son's kidnapping last year. To uncover the truth behind the abduction and murder of Suichi Shigima. Oh yes, I remember. They never did find the one who did it. And that's what I'm here about today, in fact. Kind of you to let me drop by so late, by the way. I've been turning over every last stone and I've come up with a grand total of 1 lead. So you said. As far as the police are concerned, it's a cold case, but I managed to make some headway. I remember. You were just about to tell me. The overview of the kidnapping that took place in Honjo a year ago. Suichi, age 11, was kidnapped on his way home from school with a ransom being demanded that same evening. Initially, kidnapping was thought of as a simple extortion scheme, but when it came to light that the Shigima family was closely tied to the police, Shuichi was in fact the grandson of the senior official, it was quickly assumed that the perpetrator was acting on a grudge against the police force. Kidnapping was treated as a direct attack against the good name of police, and a large-scale investigation was launched that used the best equipment available to trace phone calls. It made it all the more embarrassing when they were unable to catch the culprit, losing the public's confidence. The culprit grew cocky, relentlessly mocking the police force. After 3 days of failure after failure, Haruhi reached a breaking point. Spurred by concern for her son, she resolved to hand over the ransom money as fast as possible, but her husband and father, who held the prestige of the police in high regard, refused, saying that they would not let the criminal win by giving in to their demands. The increasingly frantic detective assigned to the case lost his temper when the criminal called to give an ultimatum, causing the culprit to never make contact again. After another week passed and Suichi's body was found floating in the Sumai River. Suichi's death could be largely ascribed to the police's incompetence, but this was ultimately covered up with stringent media embargoes. The investigation was never closed, but the case has long gone cold. Suichi Shigima, the only son of Haruhi Shigima, he was kidnapped and murdered 1 year ago. His body was discovered floating in the Sumai River. Suichi was a conscientious, brave young boy who was determined to protect his mother, Haruhi, amid his father's frequent absence. He dreamed of becoming a police officer and displaying diligence and an impressive sense of responsibility from a young age, likely due to being raised in an extremely strict environment. Born in the early 70s, he spent his days immersed in various activities and studies, including playing piano, learning the abacus, taking English lessons, and training kendo. Tsuchi's tendency to put other people's needs over his own meant he died without ever telling his classmates how much he longed for them all to go out and hunt for mockingbird stickers. We still need to figure out exactly what you want me to do. Tell you what, why don't I tell you what I found, and then we can make a decision. Alright. I suppose there's not much point going over the kidnapping itself. No, I'm very familiar. Then I'll leave that for all the files to cover and just confirm a few things about the case for the files to cover. I feel like there's a little bit of fourth wall breaking there, Richter. The police trace the culprit's calls back to, let's see here, Northern Oyako River here in Sumire City. That's quite a wide area. That's right. In the end, they never managed to nail down exactly where the calls were coming from. But it was almost certain the same location that Tsuchi was being held captive, since Tsuchi's voice could be heard during the killer's calls. Northern Oyako River is quite a distance from Tsuchi's normal school commute, factoring in that he was seen at school but went missing before he arrived at his house. It's likely that he was abducted by car on his route home. Maybe, but exactly. Tsuchi was a clever boy. He never would have gone into a car with a stranger. That's right. I was very firm about that. I know he understood, too. I even saw him warning the other children. It's possible that they forced him into the car. The only issue there is, there weren't any witnesses to the kidnapping. You can't bundle someone into a car with that many students around and not be noticed. But nobody came forward and say they saw anything suspicious. So, did they target him at some other time, or somewhere away from his usual route? Both of those seem a little far-fetched. Which raises the question, how did the kidnapper pull it off? The police never managed to find an answer. In the end, they decided that the kidnapper must have just gotten lucky. Well, why not turn the problem on its head? The kidnapper managed to convince Tsuchi to get into the car, but how? The only thing that makes sense to me is if they were somebody that he would have a reason to trust. A teacher perhaps, or a relative, or somebody else that he knew. But all the adults Tsuchi knew had alibis. The police checked them all thoroughly. They did, huh? No one throws numbers at a problem like the cops. But what if it wasn't someone he knew? Or rather, what if the culprits disguise themselves as a police officer? Well, I mean, that makes sense. That would explain why he didn't find them suspicious. The Shikima family has close ties to the police after all. He would have had a reason to trust them. You might be right. But surely that couldn't have... Well, there's a problem with the theory. You'd be surprised how much police officers stand out. That's sort of the point, after all. They're meant to be visible deterrent against crime. So... But here's another interesting little bit of trivia I happen to know. When you ask people to imagine someone suspicious, nobody pictures women or children. Even kids who have been warned about strange danger often subconsciously expect that danger to look like an adult man. Besides, Tsuchi was the sort of boy who wanted to be a police officer when he grew up. He must have had a very strong sense of right and wrong. That's right. Wait, surely you can't mean... No, you're getting it. If, say, a young woman approached Tsuchi asking for help, what would he have done? If someone like that said that they were lost and asked him for directions, would he have gotten into a car? He might have. My husband always told him that a man had a duty to watch out for women and children. You could certainly argue that kind of attitude is outdated nowadays. But if Suichi believed it, then we might have something here. Then you think the culprit was a young woman. But it was a man's voice on the phone. She might have been an accomplice, or maybe she didn't even realize she was being used. If anything, that would explain why she hasn't come forward. She herself might not realize she had anything to do with the case. Alright, this is interesting. It's very interesting. We're tying it all into, well, I mean, this is an interesting one, because we're going to be following the kidnapping, trying to find, I'm assuming, the person who did it, and then also Haruhi trying to bring back her son back to life, the Rite of Resurrection, which I guess we'll talk about that at some point, but for now, let's just stick with the kidnapping. So the question is, did anyone see Suichi speaking with a young woman on the day of his disappearance? See, what I said about people's bias, that goes for witnesses too. And I figured that maybe, if I started asking new questions, I might get some new answers. So I spent my day asking around Suichi's school at Rote, seeing if anyone had seen something. And one man thought he had. Do you mean he saw it happen? Well, I can't say for sure yet. It turned out he wants something from me, so he asked if he could talk in private. Several hours earlier. Alright, this should do. There's no one around. We can speak in confidence. Excuse me, what was your name again? Jonichi. Got it. Well, Jonichi, I'm all ears. Just so we're on the same page. You're a private detective investigating Suichi Shigima's kidnapping. Do I have that right? Of course. What else do I look like? Should I know what a private detective looks like? No, forget it. Look, I'll tell you straight. My life is in danger. I need your help. Well, excuse me if that caught me a little off guard. Let me ask you straight. Who was trying to kill you? A student called Michio Shirashashi. Interesting. A schoolgirl, eh? Sounds like you've been naughty. Yeah, it's nothing like that. That girl, she's a murderer. The one who knows, but I saw what she did. Michio Shirashashi. I saw her kidnap Suichi Shigima. Come again? I saw her talk to him on the street and led him away. Didn't think much of it at the time, but then he went missing. She murdered him. I'm sure of it. Or at least she's got something to do with it. That's what you're here for, isn't it? Then you can't let her get to me. If that's true, you've been sitting on some valuable information. Why didn't you tell anybody? Well, you see, you can't explain that. I don't have any reason to believe you. I couldn't. She told me she'd kill me if I spoke a word. Tell me a schoolgirl had you scared for your life. So you've been sitting on that all this time. You think she's coming for you now that you've spilled the beans? Yes, that's it. Exactly. I'm begging you, don't let her get me. Arrest her. I'm telling you, she's a demon. Well, you seem to believe what you're saying. That just doesn't add up. How could a schoolgirl have a fully grown man so terrified? You don't know what she can do. She'll curse me. Curse you? Look at his pie face. I'm sorry, but you're losing me here. It's true. Her house, I forget, why do I even bother? You seem dubious enough to believe me, but I should have known you'd never understand. Enough. I'll find someone else to help me. Hey. Well, that is a very strong lead you have there, Mr. Richter. And that's about the long and short of it. I can hardly believe it. At the time, I thought his mention of curses was just crazy talk. Excuse me. But I'm starting to see that there might have been more to it. Then, if you can just find that girl. Curse or no curse, if she was with Suichi on the day of the kidnapping, then there's a good chance she knows something. On top of that, I did some digging on the man I spoke to. His full name is Koi Konuchi. He's a teacher at Kamagata High School here in Sumaida. A teacher, then a schoolgirl. As one of his students, I think that's very likely. At last we've got a lead. Hopefully it'll be the breakthrough we're looking for. Alright, that's all about that. The Rite of Resurrection. The Rite of Resurrection, huh? I read about that in an occult magazine the other day. Apparently some old book showed up recently with all the gory details. And they say that the rite can be found somewhere in Honjo. I remember the first time you told me about that. It felt like my prayers had been heard. Like I had hoped. Hope. Real hope. For the first time. Ever since that awful day, I've wondered. What if I hadn't sent him to school? What if I just paid the ransom? Not a day goes by I don't think that if I'd done something differently, Suichi would still be alive. You can't blame yourself, Mom. It was the culprit's fault, not yours. Though I know that won't help anyway. Grief is funny like that. I'm guessing that's why you're after the right. I guess I didn't need to ask. It's written all over your face. I can tell how much she meant to you. But, this is going to be a big but, with 2 T's. If the right is a real deal, using it will mean killing someone and stealing their soul. Is that a problem? If it comes to that, I'm afraid I'll have to stop you. Oh, that's a shame. A shame, huh? And that's all. I thought, if I'm going to be competing with other curse bearers, then your detective skills might come in useful. You realize you're talking about ending someone's life, right? Don't you see an issue with that? I think any parent in my position would happily kill for a chance like this. And that's so, is it? Dear oh dear, what have I got myself into? I always forget that for whatever dumb reason the frickin' whenever I use the analog stick, it only moves the cursor. It doesn't actually move it down to, you know, those spots. Excuse me. If it makes you uncomfortable, then you won't have to get any blood on your hands yourself. I don't need to kill the other curse bearers. I only need you to find them. I won't be party to murder, ma'am. Not even for a client. Oh, that's a shame. God, it's so eerie that there's like no music like going on. Like that's so eerie to me. I'm like, well, actually, it's not even. It's just like this. It's like silence, which is really kind of funny and really cool. I see. I didn't realize you were so stubborn. Let me say, though, it's not like I don't get what you're going through. As long as you're not killing anyone with your own hands, maybe I can help you out. What do you have in mind? Well, how about stealing someone else's curse stone after they filled it with soldier eggs? If that was all you are after, then I could lend you my services guilt-free. If the other curse bears want to kill each other, that's their business. I'm not trying to be a hero here. I guess there's no guarantee a stolen curse stone will work, but we can worry about that later. Well then, I suppose we have a deal. Although, what if I stole a curse stone using it in my curse? Would you disapprove? That would void our contract, ma'am. Just warning you now. My. My, oh my, oh my. About my curse. Before we go any further, why don't you tell me about that curse of yours? The haunting clappers, was it? That's one of the 7 mysteries of Honjo, if I remember correctly. That's right. The original story did happen somewhere near here, I think. I'm sure I remember hearing that. In that case, my money would be on all the curse bearers being somewhere in Honjo. Our first move should be to narrow them down. Some of them are bound to try and come for you first. We'll need to be ready. The curse makes the bearers more willing to kill, as an attack could come from anywhere. That sounds sensible. And if I remember correctly, your haunting clappers can set people on fire, but only if they have a naked flame or a lighter on their person. Is that right? That's right. In olden times, wooden clappers were used to warn people on fire. I'm guessing it punishes those who don't heed the warning. It seems like a good curse to have. It's simple and straightforward enough to use. Although it's hard to say how it stacks up without knowing what else is at the table. You really think it's that good? It is a pretty decent curse, I will be honest. I mean, I will say this. Out of all the curses that we know, let me get to... I guess they're not in here. The Whispering Channel kills by drowning who leaves a cursed bear behind. So that one could definitely be an interesting one. Fool's Procession, we don't have that one yet. We don't have Beckoning Light. Daunting Clappers, all they need to have is just like a lighter or, I guess, already be on fire, which I don't know what they mean by that. Honestly, like possession of fire. Like if they're holding a torch... They're holding a torch or a match, or would a match count as a fire starting device? Lit matches, anyway, what I mean. With false statements, I mean, I'm actually curious, like, it's one of those things that, could you use the curse, even before, like, is it one of those things like the curse will let you know if they're lying or not? Kind of like, because you can't really know if they have a light on you, and the thing would show up. And the curse did always show up like every now and then with the Whispering Channel. How it was like it showed up, but they still technically hadn't turned around yet. So, don't have this one. Kills by crushing one who hears the command "wash." So I'm like that one's. I'll be honest, that one's still a little up in the air to me. Like, does that just mean they need to hear the word wash and then they can get killed, or what? You really think it's that good? But I would say this is probably definitely in the top 3, or actually 4, but we only know 4. So the target can't do much to throw it off, and it has a nice long activation window. It's big that it works on lighters too. Just slip one into your target's pocket. And say that condition were already fulfilled before they even knew you're there. They won't even know what hit them. Maybe I won't have to actually use it. I could just tell someone I could, and they'd have to do what I say. Threats could work, although without any proof it'll come down to how convincing you can be. If only you could use the curse, then back out at the last second. At the last second? What an interesting idea. I have a lighter right here. We could try it now. That's an interesting proposition. But maybe not. I'm not quite crazy enough to make myself a guinea pig. Oh, I see. You're an odd one, ma'am. If you don't mind me saying, and I don't think it's just a curse. You flatterer. Learn more about my curse. As for what we do next, first of all, I think you should stay indoors. Try not to do anything spontaneous or outside of your normal routine. Right then, have you decided what you want me working on? This is interesting. Should I help with the rite? I mean, he'd be help. I guess we somewhat know, but then again, it could just be you say one and then just say both of them anyway, so it doesn't really matter which one we pick. But you know what kind of happens on the other way, or when we were doing on what's his name's when we were playing as the first guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Sugamo, I think his name was. When we were as Sugamo and we ran across Richter, he was like, "Do you have a light on you?" And then I'm pretty sure he just like followed us everywhere, just like see if we were curse bearers or not. And he saw us using our curse, so he probably then talked to Haraway about it. It's like, "Well, here you go," and everything. But he disapproved of it, so I don't know. They must have came up with a whole. He did not want her to use the curse, but yeah. Investigate the kidnapping, I'm going to say. Finally, I have a lead. I need to know what happened to my son. Your wish is my command, ma'am. I'll focus all my efforts on looking into the kidnapping. Although, something just occurred to me. You can't investigate the matter at night, can you? At least until the sun rises. Could you search for the other curse bearers? Yeah, see, here it is right here. So it's like... So it didn't really matter what I picked. It was going to be both of them anyway. Alright, I see how it is. Well, I'd be happy to help. Odds are good that the other curse bearers are also working by night. Anyone they kill in the cover of darkness won't be discovered till sunrise. I bet they'll be trying to do as much as they can before morning comes. So it's settled then. I'll look into the other curse bearers by night. And once the city wakes up and I can start asking questions, I'll investigate the kidnapping as well. I'll even try and find Miss Sirashashi as part of the bargain. Thank you. That's more than enough. No, then. I should get to work. There's only so much time before sunrise. I'll call you if I find out anything new. You stay here and keep a lookout. All right. There's no telling what kinds of curses you might find out on the streets tonight. Don't go outside if you can help it, and try to be ready for anything. I will. Well, if that's all, I should be going. A nice thought. Alright, I guess. I kinda. What? Oh, god damn it. It's doing the now loading thing again. Motherfucker. Why does it do that? Well, let's continue on with her. A nice thought. Summary of the previous events. Despite having attained the curse of the hunting clabbers, Haruhi Shigema is determined to use the Rite of Resurrection by stealing the remaining curse stones. She instructs her private investigator Richter to find the other curse bearers. I want to, like, look to find the information on those burbs. Shigema Mansion reception room. Oh, we're here again? Alright, here we go. File. Game. Weird that we've got the gameplay guide for that. Alright, Mockingbirds. Approach the net. A bottom shelf surrounded by darkness. Jackpot. Late at night on the way home. Look up at the first house. Before hearing the history. Bright garden. Well, here's the thing. In the bright garden, that could also be the first spot of Tetsuo. You know, if anything, maybe I'll look up. Maybe I should just look these up, maybe. Maybe if they just tell me the names of the things, we'll see. Wait until you feel like yourself again, detective in private eyes. Well, I feel like whenever the detectives and meet up with Victor, that's where that will be. The excited detective. I mean, we know who that is. That's going to be Arroway. Waiting at the entrance in the park with the sparrow scenes. See, on the bridge pillar at night, that could be in that area down there, so. It's been almost an hour since Richter left. He promised he'd call me if anything happened. But he hasn't. So all I can do is wait and wait. That old hanging scroll. Seen it too often to feel anything from it now. Flowers put me at ease, just a little. Come to think of it, I never offered him any tea. Not that I ever learned how to make it. God, I'm a terrible host. Should I put a record on? No, it's too late for that. I'm not in a mood for music anyway. I can't even click on this anymore. There's nothing on at this hour. I see no point in turning it on. It's a fax machine. I really find a use for it. Don't know anyone else who owns one. I'm waiting for Rick to contact me, but he hasn't. I know it's dangerous to go out, but I can't just sit here and let this opportunity pass me by. I have to look for her. For Michio Surisashi. But first, I need to find more soul dregs. What's this? A newspaper? Must have fallen off the chair. As I'll read it. It's a newspaper. I only leave them in here for the guests. I hardly ever read them myself. Don't think I've taken the time to go over one in years, in fact. Well, it's not like I have anything better to do. Well, let's just read them all. Society. Looks like the city's biggest problem right now is pollution. I remember how the air and water used to be even more polluted. The river was covered in scum from all the sewage and industrial waste, and it stank so badly it'll make my eyes water. Eventually, people started getting sick, and it can't be ignored anymore. Fortunately, it's gotten better since then. Excuse me, goddamn. Although the air around the industrial district is still filthy with gas and smog. All sorts of articles about the current state of the economy. Now that the post-war boom has passed its peak, we're moving into the era of large corporations. It's about 220, 230 yen to the dollar. Manufacturing is on the rise and exports are healthy. The dollar's down from its height, and people are saying it could fall further. There's no denying how much the standards of living has improved in the past few years. It's common to own a car and television now, and supermarkets are better stocked than ever. culture. Now that everyone has more spending money to go around, people are coming up with all kinds of new diversions. It seems that like only yesterday people were flocking to the arcades to shoot aliens. But now we have these enormous theme parks and gaming machines that plug straight into our televisions. Everyone's talking about superhero series, foreign films, and movies based on the latest bestseller. Back in my day, fusion rock and folk music was all the rage. But now it's all about the city pop and idols. I find it hard to care about that sort of thing anymore. Education. Everyone attends high schools now, even girls. Universal education policy, they call it. The country's gotten rich enough that every child could go to school. Education is the backbone of modern society. If you want to work for a good company, you have to get into a good university. With more people in the running than ever, the competition to get into those universities has gotten fierce, though. The new generation is rebelling. Schoolyard violence and delinquency are on the rise. But my boy was too sensible to get mixed up in any of that. I don't want to read anymore. It only reminds me of him. Oh, okay. I guess we gotta look at them all, but I guess we'll look at all these. I don't really watch much television. It feels as if all the information in the world gets passed around through the little black box. But Father stopped them from reporting on the kidnapping back when it happened. I was glad about that. Less fuss. There's one thing Honjo never once for, it's horrific crimes. They found a police officer dead in a local park just the other day. None of my family are in the police. I hope it wasn't anybody new. I don't read the news anymore. Not since last year. It brings back bad memories. Well, I guess this is somewhat like talking to someone. Although with everyone flocking to the city, land prices are skyrocketing. Nowadays, most people can only dream of home ownership. And that's still true today. The city center is going to be nothing but apartments before long. Not exactly a businesswoman, so this all feels like another world to me. I'm done with that. I hear the new big thing is some mascot line of delinquent birds. Mockingbirds, I think it's called. Was that what Richter was talking about? Trends seem to have some short shelf lives now, and with how quickly the times are changing. I think I'm just too old to keep up anymore. It's young people who are leading the way with their modern worldviews. My generation will only fall further behind. Yep. It will happen to you. It's happened to me, and it will happen to you. Now the comedy boom is over. All the comedies are flocking to other genres. The occult seem very popular at the moment. Look at all these paranormal specials. Suicide at a local high school? Or, I remember that. A high school girl jumped off a roof about a week ago. She was bullied, I think. Or maybe it was something about exam pressure. What? But... No, this can't be right. Her name. Michio Surashashi from Kamigawa. Oh, from Kamigawa High School. Oh, okay. I was about to say, I remember hearing her name before, but I couldn't remember from what, and here we are. It can't be. I'm waiting for Richter to contact me, but he hasn't. Make sure the receiver is on the hook. I'll ring as soon as he calls. Ah! That must be him. Hello, Shigema residence. Hare Shigema. Komagata Bridge. Ah, here we are. Yep. Richter called me out to meet him, and we came here to Komagata Bridge. Richter, there's something I need to tell you. Funny, I was just thinking the same thing. Could the bird be here somewhere? We are on a bridge. Oh, a star. When I'm coming at a bridge over the Samadhi River, there's a highway on one side and a freeway on the other. But they're both deserted this late at night. Nice. Ah, hey! There we go. Mockingbird 18. Was that the one I was actually thinking of? It might have been. Let's see. So I know it was somewhere down here. Yeah, I think it is. Pink Punisher. Is wearing the, I can't remember what the... Kind of looks like, you know... I can't remember the names, but, like, they're like, basically the schoolgirl delinquents. That's basically what she's, the Pink Punisher is wearing. I can't remember what it's called, though. Waiting at the entrance. The excited detective. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was that one that I was talking about. So, hey, that's pretty good. Samadhi River. The water's filthy and horrid, but at night when it's still, it looks almost peaceful. Can I ask you something, ma'am? Is the Samadhi River what you Honjo folks picture when you think of home? I couldn't say. All I can tell you is that I can hardly stand the sight of it. Right, should have guessed. This was where they found him after... Oh. This is where they found him after he went missing. All alone, floating in that horrible water. All I can think is how scared he must have been. How cold he must have been. What did he ever do to deserve something so awful? I've come here every day since then. And I pray to the river to give him back. To give me back my son. Day after day after day. You know, in olden times, people believed the rivers marked where our world would meet the next. So the act of crossing flowing water had a huge amount of spiritual significance. Back when Edo was founded, the people of Chuo saw the Samadhi River the same way. They associated the far side of the river with the afterlife. The same place would later become Honjo. All their fear and revulsions accumulated there and took root. But then the Ryoku Bridge sprung up after the great fire of Marikai, and just like that, Honjo was part of the city too. And as it turned from farmland into a town, the people surrounded it with the man-made rivers and crisscrossed it with channels and waterways. I want to say, it could be canal. You know, I think it's canal, not channels. I'm an idiot. Channels would be two ends, right? Like that spelling, the spelling of, you know, a river channel or canal, which is, yeah. So it'd be like something along those lines as well, I would assume. Weren't those to prevent flooding? That's what I was told. They were, but that's not all they were for. Their other purpose was to contain all the corruption that had built up on the far shore, and stop it leaking through to our side of the Great Divide. Officially, there were physical barriers, but unofficially, there were a spiritual one too. So if I have this right, are you saying that Honjo's a place where the real world meets the afterlife? Exactly. That's why the Rite of Resurrection is here, rather than anyone else. I'm sure of it. And it's probably why the 7 mysteries and their curses have survived to the modern day. And I guess that would make this spot we're standing now, right over the water, the border between life and death. If there ever was a place where bringing back the dead might be possible, I reckon it's here. It's funny that you mentioned praying to the river. That might have done more than you think. Is that supposed to make me feel better? Just thinking out loud, ma'am. Well, it's a nice thought. Interesting. Oh, that's right. There's one more memory I have of this river. Do you mind if I tell you? Go ahead. It must have been about 20 years now, when I was still a schoolgirl. Back then, Samiti River was much filthier than it is now. It was full of garbage and industrial discharge. It was scummy and slimy and it stank. You could look out over the water and see dead cats and dogs and pigeons just floating. And one day among all that filth and garbage, there was a piece of my missing classmate's hand. What? It was almost a miracle when you stop to think about it. What were the chances that someone would find a part of her that was still recognizable? And that although everything but the palm had rotted away in the water, the part that was left would have an identifiable scar, and that they could tell had been a murder from the blade marks on the bone. Wait. Are you talking about the Nijima murders? Okay. We heard about this before with the previous detective story too, so you have heard of it. I'm impressed. I assume you were but an elementary schooler at the time. I wasn't really aware of it then. I had only heard of it after the fact. I had no idea the victim was a classmate of yours. Oh, now we're getting this person's thing. Fumi Chika Nejima. Self-employed, none. I mean, as far as we know, he has none. The man who made headlines over 2 decades ago as the proprietor of the brilliant killings known as the Nijima murders. To be honest, it was all a bit of a blur. A wave of chaos just partying around me. Something like that. They said that the rest of her body must have sunk to the bottom of the river. They combed the riverbed, but they only ever found pieces. Everything else must have rotted and floated out of sea. Afterwards, I heard that all the divers who had been looking for her fell ill. A sorry story for everyone involved, huh? It's funny. Everyone figures the river's filthy already, so no more pieces of garbage won't hurt. But every little bit makes it worse. It's a vicious cycle. I know I won't want to go rotting around down there myself. That's right. Which is why the riverbed is the last place anyone will go looking. Or so was the killer's thinking, I suppose. The times were changing quickly back then. Things were confusing. Everyone seemed to be in a hurry. Young people were moving to Tokyo in droves. Some even ran away from home to make it in the big city. And they made easy targets for bad people. A lot of them ended up disappearing without a trace. You see, back then, if you chopped a body up into tiny pieces and threw it in the river, it would rot, quickly and discreetly, and sink to the bottom, never to be seen again. Are you saying what I think you're saying? They arrested him shortly after. Fumijiki Nijima, the man who killed my classmate and cut her into pieces. He was so methodical about it couldn't have been his first crime. And people began to wonder how many other girls he'd murdered the same way. The police never found any evidence of other murders in the end. But the river knows the truth. How many corpses has it swallowed up over the years, I wonder? That same thought spurred through everyone's mind, and they started to avoid this area. So really, this river has been rank with corruption for decades now. Or at least, that's how it seems to me. Well, was that interesting? Well, I can see why you don't have any good memories of this river. With all that darkness looking beneath the surface, There's no reason that you would. Still, if I may, ma'am, I'm surprised you know so much about the Nijima murders. But how could I not? After all, I was the one who found the hand. Ooh, okay. The police actually wrote me a thank you letter. They said it was only thanks to me that they managed to bring Nijima to justice. That was the only time my father ever said he was proud of me. Huh. I guess it just wasn't the killer's day. Sometimes I wonder if he resents me for it. The Samadhi River. I have nothing but awful memories of it. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I would too. I don't think we did the think yet, did we? Standing around in this is the last thing I want to be doing right now. It's my only chance to bring back my son. I can't afford to fritter it away. Fritter it? He's gazing down at the water. Blood in the water. It's actually a song by a band I listened to a while ago. Really, it's actually a really good band now that I think about it, so. I'll go first. There's something I need to tell you. What's up? Well, that girl, Michio Surasashi. The one who was with Suichi at the day of the kidnapping. That's her. Well, she's dead. She's what? The student committed suicide last week. That was her. I heard something like that had happened. Never got the name, though. Talk about bad luck. Finally get a lead, only to find it's turned into a literal dead end. Unless her death was the whole reason Jonichi was so shaken up. He said she was going to curse him. Was he talking about her taking revenge from beyond the grave? It seems like we're back where we started. Not necessarily. That teacher knows something, I'm sure of it. At the very least, I'd put money on him having something to do with Miss Surasashi's death. That's why he's so scared of being cursed by her. I see. And also, something tells me he knows more about your son's kidnapping. In any case, I think I've got a good idea of what he's hiding. Call it a hunch. A hunch? Well, more of a theory. Care to take a guess? I can guess. I can't say for certain, but... Mr. Jonichi. Silenced her? With blackmail? With a curse? With murder? With blackmail? What if Mr. Jonichi silenced Mirasachi with blackmail? What do you think? Or would it be the other way around? Oh, no. Never mind. I was about to say, actually, that doesn't make sense. That didn't make sense. I was like, it'd make more sense that she was on him with blackmail, but maybe not. Exactly my thinking. Junichi knew about Miss Surasashi's connection to the kidnapping, and he used that to blackmail her into doing his bidding. He made her feel so trapped, she took her own life to escape. That's my read on it. How despicable. Well, it's just a theory. A game theory! Right now, I think we need to have another chat with Mr. Jonichi. Please go ahead. Alright then. I've been poking around places connected to the Seven Mysteries, looking for curse bearers. I think I found a few candidates. First, a tall man I ran into in Kinshibori Park. I asked him for directions, trying to probe probe him a little, but he turned the question right back around on me. And he was out of there the second he figured I wasn't what he was looking for. I got the sense curses were nothing new to him. I'm about 40% sure he's a curse bearer. Well, we know that he wasn't, so... Then there's this middle-aged guy I saw on South Waragetsu Street. There's no question about this one. He had one of the curse stones in his hand. He had a nervous air about him, too. It was clear he was up to some shady business. Gathering soul dregs, I'd bet. He'd make a good target. Next up is a pair, a young man and woman I saw around Ryogoku Bridge. This time the man came up to me and asked me flat out if I was a curse bearer. I told him I don't know what he was talking about, and he backpedaled and left. Looks like they look around there often. Looking for kindred spirits would be my guess. Though it didn't seem like they were quite working as a pair. Gathering soul dregs in a group might be a decent idea, if you could make it work. But with things being how they are, it's got to be hard to find folks one can trust. They've got brass, though. I don't know what their deal is, but I'd like to find out. Last, there's two detectives I've seen sniffing around. The police are involved? Not necessarily. A body turned up in the local park a few days ago, so they might just be looking into that. Still, the park's got ties to one of the 7 mysteries. Might be it was the curse that did the guy in. And if they're sending in detectives from the head office, then something's got to be up. How do we know where they're from? And let's just say that when you're in this business, there are some faces you get to know. Anyway, that's everyone who's caught my eye. We found all of them in so little time. I really did hire the best. It's all in the name, ma'am. Richter Kai, P.I. No, wait. Make that Richter Kai investigator extraordinaire. My, an investigator extraordinaire? Is that why you can dress like that without drawing attention to yourself? You bet. An investigator extraordinaire can blend in like a chameleon in any outfit. Well, that aside, the middle-aged man and the young couple sound the most promising, am I right? Whichever we pick, it's still too early to make a move. It seems like the... You give me my pouty lip. It seems like the curse bears are less involved with each other than we thought. Plus, there's still others we don't know about. I say we hang fire and see how things play out. Once more bodies start showing up, that'll get the pot nice and hot. And once it's boiling, our chances will come. Anything new with the think? Nope. Is something wrong? Not really. It just struck me. It's been 20 years since the Nijima murders. So it has. Not to spook you or anything, but I thought you might be interested in knowing. Life in prison doesn't always mean life. There's precedence for first-time offenders being allowed out of parole after 20 years. Why? Well, if they found to show remorse and the desire to reform themselves, of course. That's right. I'm impressed you know so much. Still, it's hard for someone with a criminal record to reintegrate into society. I heard they've been trying to fix that recently, matching inmates with jobs and accommodation. Oh, really? They keep an eye on them, of course, and make them report to their regular checkups. But to avoid discrimination, they keep the inmates' records a secret from everyone but their employers. They even give practically notorious criminals new identities so they won't be recognized in the workplace. My. The way you put it. It's like you're saying Chika Nijima could be out on parole right now. Back in society under a new name. With nobody any the wiser. It's possible. I mean, I don't know. Even as a first-time offense, I feel like cutting up a dead body and should mean life for that person. Even if they do feel remorse and all that stuff, it's like, no, you cut up a body. That has to be some sort of premeditated form of murder. There's no way like, oh, it was a spur of the moment that I cut her up. I don't know. As it happens, a little birdie told me about a big name making parole a few months back. I don't know if that was Nijima, but our discussion just now did bring it to mind. I see. How unsettling. Now that you mention it, I just remembered something too. What was it? I was passing Kamigawa High School a little while ago when I saw someone. A janitor, I think. I could have sworn he reminded me of Fumijika Nejima. Oh? He looked a little different after 20 years. Much thinner than I remember too. I told myself I was just seeing things. But perhaps it was him after all. Damn. So, what next? The big question now is what the rest of the Cursed Bears are up to. And luckily, the Samudi River is a good distance from any of the 7 mysteries. It's unlikely that the Cursed Bears will come all the way here. I can finally have a moment to think. I see. Alright. Excuse me. It's been a while since someone spooked me like that. Is that a woman's voice? Who could it be? Oh, it's her, motherfucker. Where did she come from? It's like she appeared out of nowhere. I didn't mean to startle you. I'm terribly sorry if I've gotten the wrong people, but would you happen to be Cursed Bears? Cursed Bears? What's that then? It means someone who's gathering souls for the Rite of Resurrection. You have heard of the Rite of Resurrection, haven't you? Everyone's talking about it. Got me intrigued. Care to tell me more, miss... What was your name again? Oh, silly me. I'm Amane Tono. University student Amane Tono. Okay. Well, Miss Amane. Signing well, but I can sense that he's got his guard up. Could be there'd be more to this girl than meets the eye. I should ask her what her deal is. What the? Controller, like, just stopped working for a second there. She certainly has no reservations telling us about the Rite of Resurrection. Be worth keeping an eye on her. She could be trouble. She says her name's Amane. I guess she's around 20. She must be brave, walking around alone this night late. Or maybe there's more to it. I mean, weren't you with what's his name? Who already talked to Richter, so you should know him. Whatever. There's more to the Rite of Resurrection than meets the eye, you see. So the best way to collect soul dregs is to kill other curse bearers. And that's about the size of it. I hope it wasn't too much to follow. No, I think I got the gist. Funny old world we live in, huh? So, are you saying you're one of these curse bearers? No. Well, not quite. It's complicated. I'm not, but Yutaro is. Yutaro? Such a boyfriend? Oh, heavens no. Just a friend. His full name is Yutaro Namigaki. We're, I suppose you could say, partners in crime. Funny way of putting it. So where is Yutaro now? How about that? He's not actually a curse bearer anymore. He's more like a former curse bearer. Former? How so? Oh! I'm actually curious how this would have played out if I didn't do that, or if this would have been one of those... Because I'm curious if this is one of those, like... I know there's a game like this, too, where you kind of, like, have paths like this, and what you've done in some of those paths affect some of the ones that you haven't done. You know what? Let's just say it like this. In my recent playthrough of Tears of the Kingdom, you know, when I did the Crisis at Hyrule Castle, I already had the Master Sword, and I already had Minaru with me before I even did that quest. So with me doing those quests, the line and dialogues there were different. But if I didn't do like one or the other quest, the dialogue would have been different as well. I know there's another game I played, must have been years ago, where it was kind of like, again, it was more so like you did have multiple paths and they kind of did affect each other in a way. I guess you could say 13 Sentinels somewhat falls in that category as well. But I feel like that was more like, oh no, they're just talking about events that we ourselves haven't seen yet. So that's what I mean. But I mean, there's ones where like, oh, if you do this thing first, it affects some of the dialogue in this part of this other character's thing. I know I've played a game like that before too, but... Forma, how so? I don't really know the details myself, but apparently he lost his curse stone. Typical, right? He makes such a show of being the top student, only the flunk where it counts. So now I'm out here looking for curse bearers myself. If you want something done right. So maybe this would have happened regardless, and we would have been like, oh, so he loses at some point. He lost it. How did he do that? I wasn't with him at the time, so I don't know exactly what happened. All I know is that he came back saying he didn't have it anymore. Although, well... It's strange that you'd probe into that of all things. I'm just a curious sort, that's all. Sorry if it's a touchy subject. I don't mind. I don't particularly care about keeping it a secret. So anyway, mind if I ask why you thought I was a curse bearer? Oh, that? I'm terribly sorry. I was so rude. I saw the two of you out late at night, and I suppose I made assumptions. Gotcha. Sorry if I gave you the wrong idea. Out of interest, what was your plan if we did turn out to be curse bearers? Great question. And the answer is, I was going to ask you very nicely for your curse stones. And you thought we'd have given them to you? Just like that? Oh, maybe not. But you know what they say. You never know until you ask. You must really love your boyfriend if you're willing to try something that risky. Oh, goodness no. We're just friends. My life doesn't revolve around him, you know. Naruto can be a little irrational sometimes, so I have to keep a level head on my shoulders. Anyway, you aren't curse bearers, so I'm just bothering you, aren't I? Please ignore me. So what are you trying to do with the Rite of Resurrection? Well, Yutaro has his own plan all laid out. I don't know if I can get behind it, though. It seems... how do I put it? Self-centered? I mean, if you've got a chance to resurrect the dead, it would be a waste not to use it on someone that really matters, right? So I was planning to steal this curse stone at the last second and use it for myself. What the? I don't know why my phone made a weird noise. That was weird. Well, until you lost it anyway. Oh, but don't tell Yutaro I was going to do that, okay? I don't think he'd be happy to hear it. Of course, keeping secrets is my business. My, aren't you dashing? Sounds like you really have your heart set on this, right? What were you hoping to use it on? Do you promise you won't laugh? Cross my heart. Well then, let me tell you my master plan. Prepare to be amazed. Ahem. I'm an art student, you see. Woodblock prints are my specialty. Ukiyo in particular. Ukiyo, huh? You must be a cultured lady. Really? Do you think so? Everyone says it's a strange interest for a girl to have. You know, people often think of ukiyos as some inaccessible high-class art form, but that's actually totally untrue. Back in the Edo period, it was the art for the masses, amusement for the common people. So when you think about it, we feel exactly the same thrills from every brushstroke as they did back then. Isn't that fascinating? Huh. Yeah, I guess. And as far as I'm concerned, the undisputable king of Ukiyo-ui is the one and only Hokusai. Hokusai. Have you heard of him? Sure I have. He's famous. Didn't he live somewhere around here back in the Edo period? That's right. You're just as knowledgeable as you look. His 36 views of Mount Fuji are so iconic, they're the only works of his most people know. But Hosaki was so much more than just mountains and waves. That's only the teeny tiny tip of a variable iceberg of work. I've got to admit, I only really know him from those landscapes myself. Oh, don't worry about it. Anyone can learn. When Hokusai. At the age of 90, he left behind over 30,000 drawings. That's multiple drawings a day for 80 years. Amazing, right? So he kept on drawing right up to his old age, huh? Impressive. But even in his final years, he was never satisfied with his own work. His dying words were, "Should heaven afford me but 5 more years, I shall finally become a true artist." Even on his deathbed, he still thought he had more to learn. He was already the greatest painter and artist of the era. Who knows what he could have done with more time? Well, that's why I want to find out. Hold on, are you saying... Besides, he always said he wanted to move out of 100 houses. Houses, but he only made it to 93. Isn't that just tragic? Oh no. Nuh-uh. No way this is going where I think it's going. Imagine a masterpiece you could create with modern techniques. I feel all dizzy just thinking about it. You've got to be kidding me. So if I understand correctly, you want to use the Rite of Resurrection too? That's right. I want to bring Kusai back to life. Oh, that's certainly a novel idea. That's what she'd use it on? What a waste. Damn. But if I remember correctly, where is it? Is it here? Or would it be with the soul drags? Where? Or the Rite of Resurrection? No. Was it this one? I remember reading something. Oh, hey, here's our curse stones. That's actually pretty cool that they get updated every single time we see one. Here we go. Cersei uses these soul dregs as a sacrificial offering to bring back the dead, but the amount of soul dregs required depend on when the person being resurrected passes away. The more time has passed since the passing, the more soul dregs are required. So she'll probably need a lot of soul dregs since he's been dead for hundreds of years. Oh gosh, is it that time? Is that the time? I should be going. I need to get my hands on a curse bear before daybreak. Sorry for flagging you down out of the blue like that. Best of luck. Mana is a young woman working with Yutaro Namagaki. Her love of Katsushika Okusai's Ukiyo-ui is so great that she wishes to resurrect him with the Rite of Resurrection. Mana is a clever but calculating university student who only has time for her own interests. She's making the best of a recent boom in the popularity of female university students incited by their appearance across TV commercials and radio programs. Mana is content to ride this trend as long as it allows her to get her hands on whatever she needs and wants in life. Recently, Amane has figured out that older men will fall for her if she acts a little bit stupid. She was approached by Yutaro Namagaki in town, and although she was not attracted to him, agreed to date him because his family seemed rich. However, she does not think much of him as a human being and is beginning to grow bored of the relationship. God damn it. You are a bitch. Oh, there goes trouble. If we're going in after curse stones, we should keep an eye on her, too, if we can. Why do you say that? Before she left, she wished us best of luck. She's got at least an inkling that we're curse bearers. My. There's a good chance we'll clash sooner or later. We're after the same thing after all. You head on back to the mansion, ma'am. I think I'll tell her for a while. Yeah, that was well, that's on the way home. No more curses. Should I just do that one? Or... Man, we have gotten pretty far already. I feel like that could just be... I don't know. You know, maybe I'll keep this trend going. I always do 2 of each. And then maybe... Because I feel like we're going to be getting into the morning soon. So, but I feel like we probably won't be able to do the next thing until we do everyone's things here, so... No, I think I'll continue on the trend. So, by that I mean I do her 2 things. And then... Yeah, so I think that's going to do it for this part of Let's Play Paranormasight. In the next part, guys, we go on to our 3rd character, Yako. So, thank you all so much for watching this video. Guys, if you liked the video, please give that like button a click and comment down below what you like about the video, didn't like about the video. Let me know, guys, what you think of Harue's situation. It's very interesting with the whole... It kind of tied into the Nijima murders, which we learned in Tetsu's line, and... the suicide of the schoolgirl, which, if I remember correctly, I mean, I can't check it here right now, but Yako's themes was she wants to talk to her friend who committed suicide. Could that be the friend? I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm very interested. I'm very liking the fact of where this is all going, so I can't wait to continue onward, which is what we'll do here in a little bit with Yako. But yeah, let me know how you guys felt about Haru's story so far. I'm liking it. I'm liking this game. It's really good. But yeah, let me know. And as always, guys, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a beat. And subscribe to my main channel, too. That's in the description below. As well as follow me on Twitter. Both my main Twitter, the RBG King Kid Twitter, are in there, too. Thank you all so much for watching once again. And I will see you all next time.